Greetings in the name of the Most High, Jah, Rastafari, and His Son, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christos, Yahushua Mashiach. Even in His new name, Kedemah HaSelassie the first. You know what I'm saying? Alright. So, it's morning for me. So I'm just having coffee and water and thinking about some things. This is a warning to Ethiopia and Ethiopians at home and abroad. And thus, by transitive property, it is a warning to all mankind. And before we get into the subject matter, I'd just like to say that for those who are not familiar with me and my history on YouTube, there's a reason I don't show my face. I've shown myself with, a bandana on my face before, and I probably will do that again. But I do not consent to facial recognition or for any corporation or any of the beast system to own my facial data. It's bad enough that they got my voice on here, but I'm using my voice to stand for truth, and this is a public forum of our day, so. And why am I still on YouTube? Why don't I just go over to some other platform? Because I want to be where everybody's at, and I want to say, no, enough is enough. You cannot keep unlawfully censoring people who are not calling for violence. You're not calling for hate or wickedness, but calling for rights, truth, and justice. Okay? Dignity and sovereignty. Freedom and liberty. Righteousness and morality. I'm not going to tolerate being censored like some of these other people and just move to another platform. I'm going to fight for my right to speak out where the most people are. And yeah, I may put myself on another platform as well. It's not like I'm against that, because I've been trying to do that here and there, but that's even harder to get anywhere with. It seems like they follow me in as far as censorship goes, like they don't want people watching me on any platform, because my ideas and my thoughts that Jah has endowed me with, and that are really, the opinions of most of us that love the truth, as far as generally. Not that you agree with me on everything, but, so. But calling for eugenicist arrests and, actually trying to do something about it that's not chaotic or violent or hateful or disorderly. But just by speaking the truth, you gain so much ground as far as standing in morality and righteousness while speaking the truth and calling for what is just. Because eugenics are illegal, and just because they call it philanthropy now doesn't mean it's okay. When it's all the same networks that are all interconnected, and it's obvious that this is still dealing with so-called Nazi stuff, you know what I mean? Like what people would call Nazi today, they're misled. They're like, this and that's Nazi, and then they go and support the very industries and from everything from the pharmaceutical companies and going to mainstream medicine to big agriculture to whatever. And those are Nazis. So these people are claiming that these and those people are Nazis while they actually are supporting real Nazism, which is not just, the topics today are not going to be about Nazism. Obviously, it's about Ethiopia. But you guys got to realize that the Dragon Network is diametrically opposed to the Ethiopic world order, okay, or the true Christian world order, which is natural rights, freedom, sovereignty. You don't get birth certificates. You don't get social security numbers. You're not cattle to the state or the monarch. They've changed it into that, and it keeps continuing to gain power and get worse and worse and worse, which is exactly what the topic is about today, is using this blockchain, digital currency, data commodity, children for digital slave labor, spy on everything, tag, track, and trace everything, permanent digital ledger, all-encompassing panopticon prison, open-air prison that they're building. Okay, and they started with Ethiopia, and I have told you guys for years, those of you who have listened to me this from the beginning, that it all starts with Ethiopia. Okay, World War I, World War II, and now World War III. Before the Ukraine thing ever popped off, they had started a psychological operations campaign in Ethiopia to divide the Tigray people from the Ethiopians, okay, from the Amhara, okay, the Ethiopic Yehudi, right, okay, and it's quite possible that Tigrayan people are actually Israeli as well, as in the house of Israel, not the fake so-called Jews. They say they are Jews but are of the synagogue of Satan. Okay. So, there are, and the link will be in the description to the channel who exposes this, Alison McDowell. Okay. Y'all Ethiopians need to go through her channel, and listen to the last, 3 or 4 months. She talks about Ethiopia quite regularly. And how I think it's 1 million, don't quote me on this number, but I'm pretty sure it's 1 million Ethiopian babies have been born into the blockchain. As in, they are blockchain babies. Not saying that they're plugged into the matrix, but that they're in a digital ledger sort of way plugged into the digital infrastructure. Okay, blockchain baby. Instead of being born with just a birth certificate and social security card or whatever, you're born with your blockchain identity. You hear me? Okay? Did you hear what I just said? That's in Ethiopia. And that was the first nation they did it in. Okay? Try to tell me they don't do it in Ethiopia first. Because they have to invert the kingdom. Okay? Right? That's why they have psychological operations on African Americans to get them into gangster culture, drug slanging, and not having families, but sleeping around and abandoning some of the children or whatever. And that's happened. That's brainwashed every culture now, because they have to use the king tribe, Judah, the most influential, blessed, promised tribe, and it's not a partiality thing. It's just the promises of Judah, right? Okay, because all nations are blessed from Judah, right, through Christ, right? The blessing of Abraham coming through Christ upon Judah, and David's house and David's promises that Jehovah gave David, right? Okay, they use that first to invert all the other nations. Okay, that's how this black magic dragon network system works. Okay. Okay, so they have to, for example, it used to be that Judah, Ethiopic, true Afro-Shemitic Judah, okay, is the example tribe after Christ set up the 1,000-year peace system, right? The millennial kingdom, right? Not heaven. Okay, that's not what it was. It was not heaven. It was Jah's reign through his son on earth for 1,000 years. Okay. And there were multiple kings of kings after Christ, all the way up to Haile Selassie. And Haile Selassie is the last king of kings of that, roughly 1,400-year period. Okay? But at the 1,000-year mark, the dragon was loose, which is right around the 1600s. Okay? Which is why the kingdom extends in Ethiopia with strength and a stronghold up until Haile Selassie's time, so that we would have the promise, this prophetically promised in sign of the Lion of Judah, okay, spoken of in the book of Isaiah, spoken of in the book of Revelation, spoken of on and on, okay, which is Jesus Christ in his new name, bearing witness of himself and his works and his kingdom, right, Jehovah's kingdom. And even Haile Selassie said to the League of Nations, right, he said that apart from the kingdom of God, there is no human government that is superior to one another. God in history will see and give his judgment. All right? There is no human government that is superior to one another. Only the kingdom of Jah is the superior kingdom. Why do you think he said that at that time? Because the dragon has come to power and crushed and put a breach in the millennial Christendom kingdom of natural rights, liberty, sovereignty, dignity, honor. Right? That's why he said that, because he's speaking to the dragon, the League of Nations, the predecessor to the United Nations, the Lucius Trust, the Lucifer Trust is directly involved with the League of Nations, United Nations, right? Okay? He's telling the Luciferian government, you think you're going to make a better government than the kingdom of Jah? You're twisted. God in history will see and give his judgment. No government of men will be superior to one another, because they're all garbage. Only the kingdom of the Most High, just, righteous, honorable, deserves all praise and glory. Jah, only his kingdom is just and in harmony. Okay? So that's why they do what they do to blacks first. Okay? It has nothing to do with partiality. It has to do with inverting the kingdom, because now they do it to whites. They get black people to abort all their babies first, and now the whites are doing it. Why is that? That's just the natural progression of our tribes. Okay? I'm not going to get into whether every tribe of Israel is black or any of that. I think that's a point of division too, because the truth of the matter to me is, and this is all I'm going to say about it, is that it's more complicated than that. But that Judah and Levi and Benjamin are all Ethiopic straight up, okay, pretty much. And then some of the other tribes are various different peoples, like Irish, Welsh, etc. Which is why von Benjamin talks about Jeremiah and Baruch going to Ireland, right, to teach the Gentile tribe, okay? What does that mean? So Gentiles has kind of like two different meanings, right? The Gentile tribe, in this sense, is the 10 northern tribes, okay? North, okay? European, right? Europe has not always been so evil, okay? That's the dragon takeover of Ethiopic-controlled Europe, okay? Hence, on the 1750s maps and prior, Ethiopia has a territory all the way from northern Africa, which on the old maps, Ethiopia is Africa as a whole, but the territory goes all the way up into the United Kingdom. Tell me why that's there if what I'm saying is just nonsense. That's why it all starts with Ethiopia. The real land, the Holy Land, is several parts of Africa, okay? That's why, everything has been, all the architecture has been destroyed. The thing that's going on in the state of Israel is Fort Antonia, which is in Jerusalem, right? The fake Jerusalem. And some people would really argue me down on that, and it's like, well, all the evidence seems to suggest that, we're on a world stage here where they're trying to set up a system to where people will bow to the Antichrist. What is the Antichrist? Antichrist literally in the Greek means the spurious Messiah. Okay? The spurious anointed one. The fake one. The one that comes in place of the real one. Okay? Because the real one don't come till the last trump. You hear me? Seventh trump, seventh vial, etc. Right? Okay? Satan comes at the sixth vial, the sixth trump, etc. Okay, 666. He comes at the peak of chaos. Antichrist comes at the peak of chaos where all the nations are fully dismayed, and chaos is building up right now. And that's what they want, so they can bring out their false Messiah. But anyways, the real one gonna come eventually, mash up Babylon's system. But until that day, we need to stand for the real Ethiopia. We need to stand for the old world, okay? And we need to start rejecting this technology. And this is a warning to you Ethiopians at home and abroad. Do you realize what's going on in your nation? besides the Tigrayan conflict, okay, which is just more divide and conquer, while they set up blockchain infrastructure for 1 million Ethiopians, inverting Jah's kingdom. Ethiopia is the first nation to get the setup for the Mark of the Beast blockchain network thing. You know what I'm saying? We don't have that in America yet. We got blockchain, but we don't have every American, or 1 million Americans even, being born into blockchain digital identification and ledger. You tell me why that happened. I've been telling you guys this for years, and now it's happening. And they did it to Ethiopia first, man. It's time to go on. Yeah, man. Time to go on for the Most High. Time to go on to armed warfare, man. The armor of the Most High Jah. Pick up your sword, man. It's time, man. That's the truth. Rastafari. It's time for battle, man. Put the sword out, the sword of the word of the Most High Jah, and His Son, Jesus Christ, His Imperial Majesty, the conquering lion of the tribe of Yehuda. Pull out your sword of the word. Put your armor on, put your helmet on, helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness, the boots of the gospel of peace, the belt of truth, the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, the sword of the Spirit, of the word of the Lord. So many people want to turn their head to all this stuff, and they might think inside themselves, "Oh, this has nothing to do with salvation, or like a real spiritual kinship with the Most High." And it's like, yes, it does. Don't fool yourself, because we were warned about this in the scriptures. And this has been progressively going this way for 400 years straight. This is it, okay? And we might not see it to come to fruition until 2050, but that's only less than 30 years away. What about our youths, man? You want your youth up on the blockchain? No, man. My youth is going to be born without a birth certificate, which is the analog, B system ledger. Your birth certificate, social security card, that's your cattle numbers. My children will be born without that. But what you got to recognize is the blockchain is the digital, all-encompassing, all-invasive, you cannot evade it, cattle number. Okay? Some people can be born sovereign outside of the so-called matrix, like I was, raised without, uniform commercial code, admiralty system running my life, okay? But they're gonna try to stop that kind of stuff from happening. They want unbanked and sovereigns of all nations to be blockchain, tag, track, trace, banked. You know why it's called banked? Because they have you at sea, okay? That's what happens when you become a citizen in this world order. You are at sea, and you have to be banked, and that's why you're under admiralty codes and statutes. Because the language of the Pig Latin has you at sea, okay? In legalese, right? I'm not at sea. I'm not on the sea. I'm not at sea. I'm on the land. Natural living man, born free, sovereign, dignified, working hard, providing for myself, you know, that's the way it's supposed to be. You know. So, Ethiopia, I implore you to look into this link in the description. Mrs. Allison McDowell, who is given the absolute breakdown on the details of how this blockchain network is in Ethiopia and who funded it, how it got there, what is it, you know. And you would think that a nation like America would have been the first to do something like that, or maybe even, you know, Britain or, you know, Switzerland or something like that, you know. But nope, they chose Ethiopia. Sorry, this cat's meowing over here. Hey, buddy, what you know? Ella. So, I might have to get off here because he's harassing me. So, anyways, y'all be blessed. And Ethiopians at home and abroad, you need to take a stand against this blockchain digital ledger. Okay? It's just the way it is. This is getting weird. The world is getting crazier and crazier every day. So you better buckle your belt and you better be ready. You better not cave. You call yourself a Rastafari, you call yourself a Christian, then you better buckle up, because your faith is going to be tested. Whether you're going to go along with this beast system or you're going to go along with Christ's kingdom, the truth and rights, for every man and woman, regardless of whether they're Christian or not, or Rastafari or not. You know, this ain't just for us that we stand for these things. It's for the rights of every man and woman. Right? You see how they use this CV-19 thing to unroll this digital panopticon that they had ready. Oh, now you gotta be at home and work. Now you gotta do everything online. They don't want you interacting and going out and talking. They want to lock us in our cribs like we're on house arrest or some shit. See what I'm saying? You know where this is going. So you better snap out of it and get to work for God. Okay? In Jesus' name, y'all be blessed.